Welcome to Talking Dentures, where Simon answers all your questions about dentures.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Talking Dentures, and we got a good question today from Stinky Stan. You're an embarrassment, Stinky Stan. Sticky Stan's asked the question, why do dentures smell bad sometimes? Dentures smell bad because they're in your mouth. There's a lot of bacteria in your mouth. We have two types of bacteria in our mouth, a good bacteria and a bad bacteria. The good bacteria refer to it as aerobic bacteria, and the bad bacteria we call anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria in our mouth, it lives in those places where there is no oxygen, which is why it's called anaerobic. The absence of oxygen, that's where those bacteria thrive, and they're the real nasty bacteria. So in between the teeth, you know, if they build up and they're breeding in there, that's the bad bacteria. That's the bacteria that then is going to rot the teeth. It's the bacteria that's responsible for bad breath and things like that. And it's also the bacteria that can build up on the inside of a denture. The inside of the denture that's not exposed to all the oxygen in the saliva and things like that. It breeds in those little pockets, any little spaces between the teeth on the denture, but also in the plaque that builds up on the surface of the denture as well. So if you leave your dentures to dry out in the open, they will look a lot worse than they do when they're wet, because you'll see any of the plaque that's built up on them will go quite white as the moisture is dried out, and it's those areas that are harbouring the worst bacteria. There's layers and layers and layers of calcium which is actually built by the bacteria. That's the stuff that's making the dentures smell bad. Sometimes if you've had the denture for many years, that bacteria will get right into the acrylic. The acrylic can become porous over time as it breaks down. If you imagine you're wearing it every day, all day, for years on end, you know, after sort of like 4 or 5 years, that acrylic can break down a bit and the bacteria gets in there, and it doesn't matter what you do to it, how you clean it or anything, it can sometimes give off a bad odour, and when it's in your mouth, obviously that's coming across as bad breath to people that you're inflicting with it that are around you. So in those situations, I suggest you take your denture to a dental laboratory where they'll clean it for you. They remove all the plaque, scrub it up. They've got chemicals that they can use to safely remove any of that plaque build up. They'll give it a nice polish and get it as clean as they can for you, and it won't cost very much. It's well worth doing that. Or you could take it to your dentist, but typically your dentist will just send it to the laboratory for them to clean it anyway. If your denture is more than 5 years old, then it might be worth, and it smells, it might be worth considering getting a new denture. I have to say, the laboratory can clean them, but there's only so much they can do. If the plastic's perished, then you may need a new denture. Hope that helped. Cheers guys, see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to send us your questions. There's a link in the description below. Bye!